Hello and welcome to the morecheeselesswhiskers.com podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Hal Cranmer. Hal is in Phoenix, Arizona, and he owns some boutique assisted living homes where they have, he's got 5 homes, just 10 rooms in each. And we started out the conversation kind of getting a sense of how that business works, how he finds people, and then talking about how we can differentiate what he has and maybe use that differentiation as a way to identify people who are looking for that particular type of facility. You know, the smaller boutique is actually a word that we came up with on the podcast here. So you'll see how we talk about using market data to compel people to raise their hand and separating his before unit from his during unit. So he got very excited at the end. I think we have a real viable plan here, and I can't wait to see him put it into action. So enjoy this episode.
Hal.
Dean?
It's Dean Jackson. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
I am back in Florida after escaping the hurricane. I got stranded in Toronto and the airport was closed, so I just got back on Wednesday. But everybody's trying to scrape out from under all the hurricane debris right now.
How is your house damaged? Or?
It's all fine. Yeah. Just a lot of. Luckily, by the time it got to us, it was a less strength than it was when it hit down in Naples. So we had a lot of tree limbs and leaves and all kinds of debris and stuff, but no real house damage or anything like that. So that's all good.
Good to hear. I lived in Pensacola for a while, so I've been through a couple of them.
Well, there you go. So you are out in Arizona now?
I am.
Okay.
I live in Scottsdale, and I have some assisted living homes around the Phoenix area.
Okay. So why don't you kind of set the stage here and kind of tell me what's going on and then where we can kind of focus our time here.
Sure. Okay. Well, I have 5 assisted living homes. They're licensed for 10 beds each. They're really like large residential homes. They're not big facilities or that kind of thing. There's sort of a sub-market. The big facilities charge anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 a month to stay in their homes. We're sort of the budget version of them. We can charge at the very least like $2,200, and we'll go up to about $5,000. We've got sort of a variety of rooms, from a single room, private room with their own private bathroom, to a shared room with no bath. And so the rates are different depending on how much privacy you want.
Yeah.
But we have 10, like I said, 10 beds in each home. Usually we have 2 caregivers during the day. Sometimes we'll have 3 if the manager needs to come in and do some paperwork too, or that kind of thing. And then we'll have 1 person overnight stay with them. And we have activities. We have a personal trainer that comes in and works with some of our residents, and he's actually got some of the residents well enough to go home. And then I'm working on a yoga instructor. We have musicians who come in during the day, people who do arts and crafts. I'm trying to work with some schools in the area. For a while, I had some National Honor Society students coming in and doing karaoke with the residents and reading with them and things like that. That fizzled as most of them graduated. But I'm getting maybe some journalism students to come in and record some of the incredible stories some of our residents have from their childhood and everything. But I could really use some help on the marketing side of it to fill the house or I guess in the industry they say heads on beds, but it's to find new residents. I still have a couple rental properties that you put an ad in Craigslist, and usually you can find a renter pretty easily that way. And it's really not that way in this industry. It's much more referral based, word of mouth. Getting to know doctors, but the biggest source of referrals are the actual referral agents that go spend time in hospitals and rehab centers, and sort of churches get to grow their networks, and then they bring people on tours to your homes, and they typically charge you a month's rent if the person moves in. A Place for Mom is like the biggest national referral agent. They charge 120% of a month's rent. So those fees really add up, and it'd be great to sort of work on my own marketing to get people in without those huge costs.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. Like I've seen just recently a Place for Mom ads. So that I'm on with that. So my mother passed away about 5 years ago, and she was in an assisted living facility. She had Alzheimer's, so we had to find an Alzheimer's facility that could accommodate that. And so it was quite a process, but you're right. I mean, it's in that on the upper end of that monthly range to find a nice place that had all of the services and the care that she needed. But it wasn't an easy process. We looked at a lot of places and ultimately had an advisor or a consultant help us, do an assessment and see what would be the best, and then she would set up all the appointments with us. So that wasn't a national service type of thing, like what you're describing with a Place for Mom. But now that I think about it, I imagine that's probably exactly how that works, right? That she charged a fee plus she would get a commission or whatever, wherever we ended up placing my mom on her recommendation. So it's an interesting thing to kind of have had that firsthand experience with it. And how long, let's kind of go back to the beginning here. First off, right now you've got potentially 50 available spots. Is that right? I mean, is that what we're looking at here?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so you got 5 homes, you got 10 available spots each. And how do you run as far as capacity goes right now? How many out of the 50 do you have?
I have 1 bed open.
Okay, so you have 1 bed open. And I guess it's a constant, it's just this constant juggling situation, right? Where you never know, once you get full, you never know when you're going to have a vacancy again, sort of thing. It's not, I mean, unfortunately, I guess it's that people end up passing on before there becomes a vacancy, right?
Right. And, I can have people stay with me 3 or 4 years, and I've had people stay with me 3 or 4 days.
Yes, so exactly.
It changes all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I was going through your nonprofit activators, and one of them's like nurture lifetime relationships. I'm like, well, I got that covered.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So when you look at this, then what do you typically run? Do you typically have full occupancy, or what's the range on that if we looked at the last 12 months kind of thing? If we're
I would say it's anywhere now. I bought 4 of these about a little over 12 months ago. So it's really sort of the range. And when I first got in, I would say they were probably 65 to 70% full. I don't think I've ever been completely full, or if I have, it was for a couple weeks and then it went down again. And I've had it as low as where I've had one that was down to 4 residents, and then it bounces up to 10. I mean, I had 4 people pass away in the home within 2 weeks, totally unrelated, just coincidental kind of thing. But once they pass away, you got to sort of let all the referral agents know and everyone that, hey, we've got vacancies again, and get it going again, because it's not like people are touring the home. A lot of the move-ins are like, I need a place Tuesday, or I need a place tomorrow.
I get it. Yeah.
So it's not, you can't, call us back in a month and we'll see what we got. In a month's time, they're gone to another place.
And so it has to be, you have to be kind of, ready at the drop of a hat. I remember it's the same thing. It's like nobody really puts it off, or, it's on their mind, but then something happens and it becomes now necessary and quickly necessary, not something that you can kind of like, ease into kind of thing. I get that. Now, are all of the homes in the same, are they all in Scottsdale and Phoenix kind of area, like that they're interchangeable, that if somebody can get on the that they would consider like switching, or if a vacancy became in one of them, that's fine? Or are they spread out, that they're really only they're not drawing from the same audience?
4 of them are reasonably close to each other. I don't know how well you know the Phoenix area, but 3 are in a town called Surprise, which is right by Sun City, which is a huge retirement area.
Yes. Yep.
One's in Goodyear, which is about maybe 15 minutes south of Surprise. And then, but then I've got one in Mesa, way on the other side of the valley too. That I bought that one several years ago, and then a deal came up with these 4. So I've really got 2 areas: the Surprise Goodyear area, and then the Mesa area.
And you just have one in Mesa.
Just one in Mesa, exactly.
I gotcha. Okay, so and that's typically it, right? That people who they're looking for something in a specific area. The person looking in Surprise is not going to be the same person in Mesa. You're not going to say, oh, I've got an opening in Mesa. And they'll say, oh yeah, that's fine. They're typically.
Location is everything.
Yeah.
It's like your real estate business.
I got it. Okay.
Everyone wants to be right near the mom and dad, that they can pop in after work and see them, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, have you ever been sounds like what you've done? You've taken it from 65% vacancy to virtually 99% occupancy. Is this something that you are concerned about, or is it like if right now, if you had 2 vacancies that ended up in Surprise there, how would they? What would happen? How would you think that they would get filled right now? What would be the most predictable thing?
Well, I would. I send out an email every Monday morning to about 50 referral agents. Of here's my vacancies house by house, and I'll say we're full in this house, or we've got an opening for a shared female or a private room or things, or a private room and bath, that kind of thing. So I just send that out like clockwork every Monday. I call a lot of referral agents. We'll sort of text them once a week. They don't like to be bugged by assisted living homeowners a lot, so we don't like bug them too much, but just every couple days or something like that. and then I've got a website. The big thing, yes, I'm filling them, but a lot of it is, and I hate to say this, but it's kind of quality over quantity that I'm looking for too. We want to try to bring in someone who's reasonably active, who we think is going to last 2 or 3 years, because there's a whole lot of paperwork and extra things. We have to bring in managers and pay them extra to bring someone in. And, the sort of taking care of everything afterwards, fixing the room, doing all the paperwork when they leave, that, if we can keep them longer and sort of have a better selection rather than just take the first one that comes along that maybe have a whole lot of problems that, I really want to take care of my caregivers, because they're also very hard to find. And so if I get people who are incredibly difficult to take care of, I'll get a lot of turnover in the caregivers as well.
Right.
So it'd be nice to sort of have a flow. Plus, I've been sort of networking with other homes in the area, and they're more than willing to pay referral fees to me, if I'm full and I don't, or it's someone that my caregivers like, please don't bring them in. I can refer to another home, especially one that maybe specializes in diabetes or Alzheimer's or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get more on the internet website. I've had a couple leads from that too, but it's been very slow. Like maybe I think in the last year I've had 4 leads from that.
Right. Gotcha. Part of what I'm thinking about here, because there's so many different ways to go here, so many different conversations we could have, and part of it is the the separation of the before unit and the during unit. It sounds like where your complete operation is really during unit oriented. You're creating a great experience for people. From the moment somebody says, "Hey, I'd like to move in," until they move out, that's where the main focus is. And it seems like just even in the numbers, it shows that you're doing a good job in there, right?
I've been getting a lot of good testimonials.
Yeah, perfect, right? That's important. So one of the questions that I would ask you is like, what's your vision for this? I mean, are you looking to expand this? Are you looking to keep these 50 just perpetually full, or are you? What's your vision?
Well, I look at my costs, and I don't see that I can really lower my costs a whole lot. It's tough. So to me, the way the vision is to enhance more and more the activities, the offerings we can provide. Maybe there's other things we can provide families and things like that, and be able to sort of raise the revenue. I have, like I said, yoga guys, musicians, personal trainers coming in, things like that. Yeah. And I want to, I tell them, I don't want profit on top of your particular service. I have that. I charge those to the residents, separately. I want to be able to raise my rents and say, I offer all this, I'm a premium service, so that, I can give a very high level of service rather than, I'm the cheapest thing in town. And what but you're not going to get much.
What would be the dream come true? What would it take to be the most expensive in town?
I think the problem is I need to have nicer houses.
Well, no, that's fair.
Everyone wants a private room, and everyone wants a private bathroom. And gorgeous living places, but they want to pay $2,000 a month for that. And so, so ideally, I would say yes. It would be long-term expanding into nicer homes. That the trouble is, the market now you're competing with the big facilities too. So the market for those people are a lot more challenging too.
Very interesting. I read, and I don't know whether you are. I'm sure you do keep on top of all of this stuff, but I read some demographic information about how in the coming years here, there's going to be a dip between the silent generation, which I guess they call, from which my mother was born from 1930 to 1942, basically, or whenever the baby boom started. And there's quite a dip between the I guess what they call the GI generation, the greatest generation, right? The 20s, the roaring 20s, birth rates went up, and then in the Depression, birth rates fell down, and then back up again in 1945 or whenever the baby boom started, and that for the last period of time, there's been a lot of overbuilding of assisted living facilities and things like that, end of life type of facilities that has been driven by the people who were, born in the late teens and 20s. But now the youngest of those are now approaching their, are 95 or something like that, right? Like they're getting way up into the end. And the baby boomer generation behind them is not are 15 or 20 years away from that sort of choice. Do you see that happening, or have you read anything about that?
I've read similar things, yes, but it's it's like real estate. It's everything's local. I've got Vietnam veterans in my home,
right?
Who are very much in the baby boom prime time. I've got mid to late 50-year-old people that just have medical issues and things like that. Yeah. So, if you're targeting the 80 to 90-year-old crowd, that's true. But if you, a lot of times you're really in this industry targeting the kids of the people, and it's if mom or dad, even for younger kids, are having medical issues, really didn't take care of themselves when they were younger, or afflicted with something, like Lou Gehrig's or Huntington's disease or Parkinson's or something like that, they're just as much, candidates for assisted living as just very old people. Yeah. So there is that dip, but if you target sort of people who are just having trouble taking care of a family member at home, you've got a wide generational swing.
There you go.
People that you can go after.
And so what would be the other potential target audiences? So if you were to say, like, when you certainly look at Alzheimer's, but that requires a different type of care, and diabetes, I know you mentioned that you would refer both of those out because you're not equipped for those, right?
No, I've got an Alzheimer's house, and
you do? Okay.
Yeah, and my one in Mesa is very good with diabetes, and we've actually worked with diet on one diabetic person in our Goodyear home that he's off insulin.
Oh, wow.
The diet's really helped. And so what I'd love to target, and what's my really long-term vision, is to sort of be a home that, hey, we want to get you better. We don't want you just live out your days here. Because the first thing most people say when they come in my home, the actual resident, not the family, is, I don't want to be here. I want to go home.
Right.
So I think, it's sort of give the customer what they want. Okay. Let's help you get home, okay? And so what I'd really like to do is target people who, I don't want you. If you want to go home, I want to be the place who sends you home, because I deal with hospitals and rehab centers, and we pump people full of drugs and all that. Where I think diet and exercise can work wonders.
Yeah.
As well as attitude. And if I can target the people who can come in my homes and get and have the desire, I really want to go home, rather than I'm just saying that, but I'll just after a week or two I'll settle in and watch TV. Then that would just thrill me. If I could, I've had one or two people where we've actually sent them home, and I got a video testimonial of one that we brought home, and he's home walking his dog out and everything. He came in our home in a wheelchair and just worked really hard with our personal trainer to get home. I'm like, if I could do that to everyone, everyone's like, well, if you do that, then you're not going to have any customers. They're all going to leave. I go, well, they are leaving now, but they're leaving in a bed, or a coffin. And,
right.
If I can have them walk out of my home and go home, I will never be hurting for customers.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so that's an interesting thing that, a place for mom has really kind of hit on the language and their audience, right? That they're looking for, because that's what triggers the conversation, right? Is we got to find a place for mom,
right?
And that really kind of attracts the people who are looking for what their options are when they don't know what to even look for, and I'm wondering what would be the language that would be potentially, I want to get back home. If it was, you had that ability to kind of experiment with a language of maybe one of your facilities with the goal of getting them back home, that you become a place for people who potentially could go back home,
Oh yeah, no, that's a great idea. I see exactly what you're saying. Off the top of my head, I don't have anything for you, but
no, but in that mindset is that, if it was back at home or back to home or some, in that whole kind of mindset,
right,
that would, and that's contrarian to what most of the assisted living facilities are doing, that they're mostly looking for people who are going to ride out the rest of their days there,
right.
And so if you look at that thing, if we go like, what would be a dream come true? That's always how we start this conversation about the before unit, about marketing, is making the experience exactly what people want. Like what would be a dream come true is if they could reluctantly or resignedly kind of go into this place and with a little bit of help and time get to a point where they can go back home.
Right. No, that would be perfect. It's sort of like the USO slogan. I don't know if you know that, but it's until everyone comes home.
Okay.
They're talking about soldiers, coming back from overseas, but it's sort of something along those lines would be, that's what I would really like to advertise. I even talked to a newspaper about, could we run an ad, for a booklet on how to avoid assisted living.
Yeah, exactly.
The editors were all like, well, you do assisted living. Why would you want to run an ad on that? And I go, because no one wants to go to assisted living.
Right, exactly.
So I'm trying to
that would be the dream come true, right? It's for the now when I'm going to ask you this about who is your audience, though. So who's making the
decision ultimately? I mean, who is it? Are you dealing with uh, with the person who's going to be moving in, or is it the children or spouse or caretaker of the person who's moving in?
It's rarely the person moving in. It's normally children or spouse. We usually won't meet the person who's moving in pretty much until they move in. A lot of the referral agents, like you said, will do the evaluation of the person and sort of determine which of their homes they think would be a good fit. And then we sit down with the children or the spouses, or what in the industry they call the POA, or the power of attorney person, and sort of get an idea of, what's wrong with them, what do they need, what are their wants, hobbies, things like that. Are they going to fit in well here? But they're usually the ones that make the decision. It's rarely the mom or dad or the resident that makes the decision.
Right. So where I'm going with that is that sometimes, it's important to understand who the audience is, who we're trying to appeal to, right? Like, I don't want to run the risk of creating this ultimate kids for president kind of situation where every morning is chocolate milk and Cocoa Puffs, and every meal is, has ice cream and video games unlimited. Creating this place that the kids really want. It's the dream come true for the kids, but that's not really but it's the parents who are writing the check,
Exactly.
And so when you're thinking about this, are you counter to what the real audience is, And I know from my own experience of it that it's a very difficult decision, because no parent ever is like, I can't wait to get in assisted living. And no child is ever like, I can't wait to get rid of her. I mean, there's never that. No. It's like, there's a lot of concern and guilt, and if you really tap into the emotional thing of it, like we walked into some of these places, and there was no way I could let my mom be in a place like that. Unfortunately, with Alzheimer's, they have to be on a lockdown floor, it has to be a secure facility. And I went into some of those places, and it just felt like a prison, people, you see the people in there who are in the later stages of Alzheimer's, and it just was so depressing, and even in a facility that combines, that they have certain areas that are non-Alzheimer's and certain areas that are, just the night and day difference of that,
It's a balancing act, because you want to take care of them, but you don't want to scare people in the way that you take care of them.
But the good news, the thing that you have going for you in this type of situation is that you have small facilities, right? You have small houses, in that you could micro niche those, in a way that where you would become the only solution for, and that could be, it's interesting if you took an approach to, what's really popular might be like a longevity approach, where it's like to help people, take advantage of the latest in longevity treatments, or things that, with an eye to extending their healthy lifespan.
Yeah, no, that would be great. Because like you said, people feel a lot of guilt in doing this.
Yeah.
It's hard to put mom or dad in a home. And I totally understand that. I would have a really hard time doing it with my parents.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of that, what seems to help with the guilt is, hey, we're working with them. You're not just putting them in here for the last days and things like that. We really want to help them and improve them, not unprove, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Let them decline. So
right.
Something like a longevity thing would be great. I mean, I've sort of been studying a bunch of it. There's a lot of new research on sort of diet and different things that can help even people with Alzheimer's. It won't cure them, but it will reduce the symptoms or at least prevent the symptoms from getting worse, that kind of thing too.
Right.
And it's foods and vitamins and things like that. It's not just heavy medication kind of things.
Right.
So no, that would be great because as I tell people, I only need 40 out of this huge population of retirees in Phoenix. So
right, exactly.
It would be or 40 or 50. So it's if I could micro niche and target it, and that's the tough thing because you do get cases that you're like, I can't do anything for this person. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll take them if the caregivers are okay with it because, we want to keep the census full as much as we can.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I think, that becomes an interesting thing is the marketing through niching the services that you offer, who you attract, or what the potential differentiators could be, right? Like you're already in a situation where you perhaps have a competitive advantage for the right people in being a small facility as opposed to a big facility. So for some people, that's an advantage. Other people may take comfort in a bigger facility, right? The perception that they would have more to offer or whatever. But I think when you look at what are the attributes or what are the things that would be what people are looking for, how you could differentiate, it's almost like the place that you go when you want to get to a point where you can be back to independence, but then I don't know, that just sets up probably for more of a turnover type of situation,
Right,
but there may be
the word spread that, hey, you go to that one, you might have a good chance of going home.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's an interesting thing. Now, the other thing that I wanted to kind of potentially bring up, when we look at breaking down your business into before, during, and after units, you're really locked in the during unit. You've got basically full capacity. You have intermittent availability, and you never know when that's going to be. So the best thing that you could have would be a waiting list, ready list of people that the moment that you had a availability, that somebody would jump right on it. But I don't get the feeling that that's really an issue for you, like that you're ending up with, wringing your hands, wondering, like with sitting with a vacancy for 3 months. What's your typical length of time that it takes to fill a vacant spot?
I would say the longest we'd have to go is maybe a month and a half, 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah. So when you look at that, it's like, and do you prorate the things? So like how if you look at how quickly could you if you had somebody ready, is it just a matter of a couple of days and you could have that spot refilled?
Yeah, yes, and we typically sort of take the anniversary of their move-in date as to when their check is due for the next rent.
Okay,
but
I got you. So potentially, what ends up happening is if you have a vacancy and it's kind of an acute onset vacancy, that you have potentially a swing of where it's empty for a month, and then you end up paying an additional month for the referral agent if it's placed through a referral agency, right? So it could a vacancy could potentially cost you as much as $10,000, say.
Right.
It could be that much of a swing. If you could internally fill a spot tomorrow, that could be worth $10,000 to you, more than.
Yes, especially if it's not a referral agent that brings them in.
That's what I mean, right? If it's your own in-house and your thing. Well, I think that one of the things that is the benefit of thinking like this, with separating your before unit from your during unit, is that you're looking for an opportunity to find people who are looking for assisted living, right? And to be one of the options that they consider. You may have heard me mention I ran a painting company in the summers in college, and my friend Neil and I, we started another company called Name Droppers. And what we would do is we would hire college girls to go out to neighborhoods in the evenings and on the weekends and go and survey homeowners in a neighborhood, seeing if they were planning on doing any home improvement projects over the summer. And we had they had clipboards with checklist survey forms, and we would be looking for people, inquiring if they were planning on doing any roofing, getting a roof, getting eaves and soffits, getting windows, siding, driveway, landscaping, a pool, fence, deck, all the things that you could do home improvement wise. And of course, painting was one of the things. And we would set that up as a referral service for all of these other home services. And so we ended up making and turning our advertising and marketing, our before unit, into a profit center. So we were making money generating leads for our own business, because people who needed fencing, we would refer them to a fencing company, and we would refer people who were getting a roof or getting windows or getting their driveway done or a deck or a pool. All those things we would refer to other service providers at a profit. And I'm wondering, if you look at this same thing, that if you were to sort of open an in-house referral agency that finds people who are looking for assisted living.
Right. Or other services.
Or other services, absolutely. But I think it could start with that. If I were looking at it, that I might look at putting together a directory or a guide to our survey on Phoenix assisted living prices, because that's the thing that people know to compare, kind of thing, that if it was, that's what they're looking for. And if you can put together a pricing survey that shows, that lists the different facilities, maybe has the basic information about them. But if you had the 2017 guide to Phoenix assisted living prices, or report on, that would be a good start. Is anybody doing anything like that in Phoenix that you're aware of, or?
There, the big like a Place for Mom or those kind of agencies will sort of give a general, the Phoenix market is this price range,
right.
that covers a ton of stuff. And they'll have lists of homes, and then it says, click here for pricing, and you click on it, and it basically sends you to a pop-up that says, oh, we'll have a representative contact you to discuss it. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily want someone calling them and,
right.
trying to
I agree. They want the prices. They want the prices. And
right.
They would be willing to leave their name and their email address or their mailing address to get a guide like that.
Sure. Now, there's a ton of assisted living in the Phoenix area. I mean, in terms of gathering that information, I know a bunch of owners and things like that I can talk to about theirs, but is it, do I go door to door and ask them what their pricing is, or how do I collect that information?
Well, I imagine that you could, and that would be what would make it valuable, is that even if you looked at, a different category kind of thing, even if you niched it to the small, the smaller ones,
homes.
Yeah, smaller homes, like under what would be considered a small facility, under 20
10 is the sort of magic number, because above 10 introduces a whole lot of other requirements and regulatory requirements and
would they
things
use
like
a word like boutique? Is boutique a word that would be applicable there?
That would work. Yep.
And that would that sort of brings boutique sort of brings a nice it's a positive association word, almost like
Definitely.
a boutique hotel, right? Like boutique. So if you had that, if it was the Phoenix Guide to Boutique Assisted Living.
Sure. Yeah, no, that would be great.
That might be a nice place. That would limit the research that you would have to do, of course, too,
Right. I can talk to some of my favorite referral agents too, because they go in these homes all the time and probably could give me a really good idea of what other prices are.
Yeah.
And I could contact a lot of the other homes and say, hey, I'm putting together this price guide. Do you want to be in it? I won't charge you at all for it.
That's exactly right. That you've now become, you're almost creating an alliance, right? Like you're almost like the, all these boutique hotel alliances, like the leading small hotels of the world and the Virtuoso, all these things that are like creating, non-branded alliances.
Like the airlines, their Star Alliance or whatever.
Yeah, Star Alliance.
That's that
you've got an alliance of independent assisted living, boutique assisted living. The more narrow you get, it's already sounding more appealing,
Right. No, I really like the idea. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing out there. I mean, there are books and guides on the homes, but they really don't put the pricing. And so I think if we just blatantly said, "Here's the pricing,"
yes, and that's the thing.
A lot different.
I guarantee people are so afraid to give people prices, but I guarantee you, 100% of the people who have moved into one of your homes has gotten a price.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Right. It always comes down to that. People are afraid. They want to talk to people before they tell them the price or whatever, but I think that let's get the price out of the way, and then you talk to them about the deeper things that go into this, as opposed to just making it be the price, because price is going to drive. Yeah, absolutely, yes. And then they have a frame of reference, and then it's like it's out there, and their pupils don't dilate when they're presented with the price, right? Because there's not that sort of shock or that surprise or uncertainty around it. And all the while, now it's being filtered through that, and it's not. They've become kind of desensitized to it in a way. But I think this could be a great move here. Is appointing yourself to be the mayor of the boutique assisted living facilities in Phoenix.
That sounds like a great idea.
Right, because I guarantee you, every one of those owners, and they may not be in a position like you where they have 5 of them. They may be in a position where they've got their one, and they're wondering how do I find people?
Oh, I have people like that call me and say, "Hey, do you have any extras? If you tour someone and you don't see it, please send them my way," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
right.
They're all dying to have something like this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But nobody ever takes the initiative to appoint themselves to the mayor of the category.
Well, the other nice thing about it is it's a great filter, because we give tours and we'll spend an hour with the family talking about everything and the conditions and how their loved one's a good fit for us. And then, okay, so what will this cost me? And you give them a price, and they're like, "Oh, I can't afford that."
Right. Exactly.
Our time here.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So get the people who are in your price range coming to you.
Yeah.
So now it's just a question of, is what we have a good fit for you?
Yeah, especially if you have integrity pricing or whatever. I mean, if your price is your price and you're not negotiating price and just putting out a price there that hopefully somebody will pay it, but you'll negotiate less or whatever. If your price is your price, put it out there. And
exactly
that is then you're trying to stack it up and give people what to compare that to,
Right. Oh, definitely. And maybe have a little blurb of, here's the list of services this home provides for that price.
Right.
And when we call, because we can just get a list of homeowners and just start calling them and saying, "I'm doing this. Can you give me the pricing? And I'll make it free to you. You can promote it, do whatever you want with it too. But let me know your services and things like that. We'll put a little blurb and send me a picture of your house or something like that."
Yeah, exactly. And that, so now it might be, I mean, is there any licensing required to be a referral agency for, like, to receive a commission for
not at
referring?
This time. Not at this time.
So,
there's some referral agents, I think, lobbying to maybe get that eventually, but there isn't anything now. So as long as there's not, anyone can start their own referral agency.
Right. And you've got the same and the price is established that it's 100 or 120% of the monthly rent, right? That's a established kind of benchmark of what people are willing to pay.
Yes.
And cheerfully pay. So that becomes, when you look at it, that there's in these smaller facilities kind of thing, if you're looking at the range from, minimum 2,500 to maybe some of these smaller ones are on the higher end in the $8,000 range or more. That could be a really viable, standalone really of your business, where you're looking at that before unit could not just be for the one vacancy that you have, but also as a profit center. Because if you have a waiting list of people who are looking for boutique assisted living, then whenever you have a vacancy, that can go out, and it would be great if you could fill your spots with your own list.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
That would be a big swing. It would be potentially 2 months worth of rent there, because you'd save the month that it could be vacant, and you save the month that you have to pay the referral agency. So there's $5,000 or $10,000 right there, and then also having the potential to refer to another home when they have a vacancy, right? And that could be a profit center for you.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. No.
So then it just becomes.
We've actually referred people to other homes, so it would be wonderful to do something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really great viable plan.
Okay.
And I think that
sounds great.
Yeah. And then that would become I think that would build some momentum for you.
Sure. No, it sounds great. We're also toying with the idea of advertising to send our caregivers into homes in the local community where they are taking care of an elderly parent, sort of hey, you deserve a break. Let our caregiver take care of your elderly parent one night, and you go catch a movie or go out to dinner with your spouse or take the kids out or just sleep or, something like that.
Yeah.
We'll take care of it. And while they're there, sort of what you're saying with the girls that went around and did the homeowner survey, sort of say, what kind of services are you guys looking for? And they're, hospice or in-home health care or physical therapy or, mobile pharmacies or things like that. We can then refer those other services, as well as, hey, when they decline enough that you want to put them in a home, here's our card, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So
now you're thinking, right, like that. Now you think about all of the precursors to what people are doing before they come to you. Right.
Because it's sort of that triggering event. I listen to a lot of your I Love Marketing podcasts with Joe Polish. And he gives you a really hard time, by the way. But
that's funny.
He, it's sort of that leading up to the triggering event, sort of that before phase you're talking about, of stay in their mind until, okay, now I need you. I know exactly where to go, like for plumbers or something like that.
Right.
You don't call a plumber just to talk to him 6 months before you have a leak.
Right.
But if the plumber gets in their mind 6 months before, then when they do have that leak, they know which plumber to call.
That's absolutely right. Yes.
So that's kind of what we want to do is, hey, we'll set up a little babysitting service. It's not really babysitting, but it's same idea. And we'll give you breaks when you want them for a very reasonable price, And then when your loved one declines, call us.
That's it.
So, but I love the pricing guide idea because there really isn't much out there like that.
Right. And I think that you could do in, you'd have something like that put together fairly quickly. And it doesn't have to be definitive. I mean, it can just be the, give you an overview.
Right. Oh, yeah, very much so. And, all the caveats of, hey, if your loved one needs a higher level of care, these prices may go up. This is our starting rate kind of thing.
Yep.
But I think a lot of homeowners would love to do something like that.
I think so too.
Because now, the Place for Mom, we submit all our stuff to them, and I'm not trying to knock them. They're a great service. They've referred a lot of good people to me. They've got wonderful referral agents that really care. But, when someone's looking for the price of your home, you got to talk to a Place for Mom person to find out.
Right. Very interesting. Right. Yeah. So I think this will be a nice, a nice thing.
Sure. Yeah. And there are guides to assisted living, but a lot of those don't have the pricing in them too.
Right. So, the price is that's what will really compel people to want to download your guide, because that's what they really want.
It's sort of like I think you said you had a guide to houses selling in a particular area or something.
Yeah,
what's your
of course I
worth?
do that. Yeah, we do that all the time. The September 2017 report on Winter Haven lakefront house prices, and that's where that would be the same kind of thing, right? The September 2017 report on boutique assisted living prices.
Sure.
That
would be great.
Yeah.
And then would you mail it out? Or I guess I could put it on my website as the download and that kind of thing?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah, put it as a download, but then always offer, have people leave their full address to get the guide.
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect. Okay. No, it
and then
sounds
the payoff,
fantastic.
The payoff for it is great then,
Right.
That they're willing to do that because they're getting what they really want. Right.
That's what I was struggling with, is what do they really want? What can I provide them? But it's very obvious. It's, how much is this going to cost me?
That's exactly right. And then now that I've got all the data, now I can make a decision in our price range. What's the best for our money? What's the best thing? Right.
Because once they see the name of the house, they can probably Google it and, go in and find a lot more about the services and what they're like and things like that.
Yeah.
Then they narrow it down to 4 or 5 houses. They go look at them, make a decision.
That's it.
Okay. Fantastic. Oh,
I like
this
it.
This is great. I really appreciate it, Dean.
All right. So what's your action steps going to be here?
So it's going to be make a list of all the group homes, at least in my area or areas, but maybe to start with that, and then we'll expand it after that. But and start calling the owners, because I can get it right off the Department of Health website. I can get all the homes.
Oh, love it. There you go.
And then get all their pricing, and send me a photo, and then go on like Fiverr or I don't know, Upwork or something like that.
Yeah.
Have someone just make a little e-book brochure. Here's our price guide.
There you go.
And then load it on our website. It could be sort of the, welcome to our website. Here's a free price guide.
Yes, that's exactly it.
And then I did work with a direct mail company for a little bit to get a list of people with a parent living at home with them.
Okay, nice.
We send out
there
some
you go.
mailings to those and got a couple tours out of that. But I'll use that list and maybe send the price guide out to them.
That's exactly it. You could do almost identical postcard to what we do for the realtors. So that's great. You can offer that report.
So I kind of send out a postcard saying, come to my website and download the free price guide.
That's exactly right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there's my actions.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. No, it's wonderful. And then while they're on there downloading it, I could say, hey, would you like a night off? You know, my caregivers could come out to your home and, you know, spend time with your loved one while you take the night off.
Yeah, perfect.
So, okay. No, this sounds fantastic.
I love it.
All right. I'm excited. I got to get to work here.
Me too. Okay, great.
Well,
keep me posted. Yeah.
Short. Oh, okay. I absolutely will. I'll just email you or something, maybe send you a link to here's what I got set up.
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Awesome, Hal.
Well, I really appreciate the time, Dean. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
It's been great.
I love your podcast.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
And there we have it. Another great episode. Anytime you're dealing with something where you could put yourself in a position of being a compiler of data, of market data, pricing data, information that everybody wants to have at their fingertips, but there's no real easy way to get it. Nobody is appointing themselves to the position of the category caretaker. Just like, you know, there's independent or individual boutique assisted living facilities, and they're all individually trying to figure out how do we find people for our facility, but nobody in all kinds of industries like that. I'm not just talking about assisted living, all kinds of industries. Nobody takes the time to just step back, put themselves one layer above this, and create the category ownership of the boutique assisted living alliance and appointing yourself to be the mayor of that or the aggregator of all of the information like that. And, you know, I talked about using that for our name droppers for home improvements. I've used it for, with another client who did put together a wedding directory for places to have outdoor weddings. Anytime you can put together market data that's going to be very interesting and helpful for people, you get to appoint yourself to a position of market leadership. So lots of lessons there. I hope you can apply some of that for yourself. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com. You can download a copy of the More Cheese, Less Whiskers book. And if you'd like to be on the show, click on the Be a Guest link and you can fill out some information to get to maybe talk about your business on the More Cheese, Less Whiskers podcast. We talked a lot about the breaking of the business down into before unit, during unit, and after unit. And one of the great understandings that you can have is how really valuable it is to think about your business as those three units. I've got a great video that explains this whole concept of before, during, and after at breakthroughdna.com. And that gives you a really good overview of all of the, how the 8 profit activators work, especially in the context of the before unit, the during unit, and the after unit. And if you'd like to see how your business is standing up, you can go to profitactivatorscore.com and take the Profit Activator scorecard. You can see exactly where the opportunities are in your business for the 8 Profit Activators. So that's it for this week. Tune in next time, and I'll talk to you on morecheeselesswhiskers.com.